Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. So what a massive 24 hours it has been, right? We just saw the market just essentially erode from all-time highs to massive, massive pullbacks. Now, some people say it's a pullback. Some people say it's a dump. Some people say it's a crash. Whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. And we are down massively. But before we get into it, I just want to ask a simple question, which is, do you believe that fundamentally the crypto market has changed? Was there some type of double spend where the Bitcoin ledger became null and void and people started to spend like crazy because there was no accountability and there was no cross-transaction compliance as we take a look at all these distributed ledgers? And then on top of that, if that wasn't an issue, was quantum computers just suddenly unleashed into the world, and then we were able to hack all the different cryptos that are out there? Or did we stop printing money? Or did we do anything with rates and we're going to raise rates? None of that stuff happened. To me, I look at it like this. Yesterday was one of those days. And to me, it brought back nostalgia because I remember those days back in 2018. I remember those days in 2020 during the coronavirus. And that was just one of those other days where it's like, oh, this just happens. And there's many a reason. I think the majority, we'll look at that and go, mostly it's because of, first of all, China said, we talked about this yesterday, hey, we're going to withhold, we're going to have this these 5 precious metals, and we're going to put tariffs on those or taxations, as we export those, if you want to actually take those, and we're going to actually deny a lot of those people, especially if they're military components. And Trump said, okay, well, we're going to do a tariff on you guys or 100%. And pretty much when that actually hit, everything went down. And of course, that was 5 p.m., I think, on Eastern time when the markets closed. So when I look at that, I go, well, that's just another issue with tariff. So that's how I see it. I still say that when we were going through this whole tariff thing, and then Trump came out with it and the market just tanked, it was the same thing again. Then like a week later, they come out and said, oh, you know what? We're going to actually work with these countries and we're going to make things actually more fluid and easier. Then all of a sudden, everything bounced back and there's another problem. And then it went down and up and down and up and down. Now here we are. So to me, fundamentally, nothing's really changed. It's just been some negative, and now here we are. And I want everybody to remember this. This is not the end of the world. What we are doing here is we are investing. This is not life and death. This is just making funds. And from here, if you just follow the rules, right? Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Don't leave things on exchanges. Don't use leverage. And for Pete's sakes, take some profits along the way. It's not going to kill you. If you do something like that and we move forward, I think things work themselves out. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that for everybody. So this just came out, I want to say a couple hours ago. Crypto investor and influencer Konstantin Galish was found dead in his Lamborghini amid the historic market crash. Now, I don't know if this was directly related because of the crash, if that would be the timing, or if it's something else, but it's leaning more towards that. So just a real quick moment of silence for Konstantin Galish, and I feel awful for his entire family, what happened, so just a moment. And awful. So we have these things, and I want you to really take a look here. This is something where this should not have happened. And this Konstantin, something happened where he got over his head. And I want to remind everybody that this, again, is not life and death. What we're doing here is we're just trying to offset and gain funds and increase our pocketbooks and do things. Now, we can go on certain rants and try to make as much money and be risky, but that's on you. Just remember that some things don't work out that well. And also, I just don't think that what people are chasing is what they actually really want. It's an old story, and it's the American businessman and the Mexican fisherman. I'm sure many of you have heard this story before, but it's very simple. It's American person goes down to Mexico, sees a fisherman and says, hey, I just noticed that you were only gone for like 30 minutes. Why didn't you catch some more? I see you only got a couple. And the Mexican fisherman said, yeah, well, I just do it for my family, and that's all we need. So then he says, so the American guy goes, well, what do you do with the rest of your time? And the fisherman says, it's great. I come here, it meets my family's needs. I sleep a little, I play with my kids, I take siestas with my wife, I stroll in the village, and I have a little bit of wine, say hi to my friends. It's a pretty great life. I'm pretty busy, and it's pretty good. And the American looks at him and says, I'm a business guy. And I can just tell you what you really need to do is you need to go back out there, you need to fish even harder, get as many as you possibly can, and then you can open up your own business here. And I can help you with that. And then over time, you can actually open up like a cannery, and you can be responsible for processing and distribution. Of course, you have to move out of this village. You have to go to like Mexico City, because that's a big city, and then maybe to the United States. And I can help you the whole time, and we can make millions. And the fisherman says, well, how long is that going to take? He said, about 20 years. And he says, well, what happens after that? He goes, then you can do an IPO, and you can go public, and you can sell stocks, and everybody will be into your business because it's the best fishing of all time. And then the guy says, and the fisherman says, okay, what's after that? And the American businessman, he looks down, and he thinks about it for a second. He said, then you can be like me, and you can take a vacation maybe once every year, and you can go to a small little village like this and soak up the sun and meet fishermen. So again, when we are talking about the things that we think we want, they're not what we really want. Try to remember that as we go into this. Okay, so today, bad day for price action, right? Although Bitcoin's pretty good, 112,000, Ethereum went below 4,000, blah, blah, blah. And I think we lost about half a trillion, maybe 847, roughly about half a trillion, because I think we were at like 3.7 trillion, and at one point we were like at 4.25. So yeah, not too bad. And of course, that just happens because of a tweet or whatever else. Also, there was some massive manipulation. We're going to go over that in a second, and it is not good. But because of this, of course, you can see that there's not too many things that are up. Is there anything up? Stable coins. Oh, and Zcash, which is up 457% for the month. So congratulations, Zcash holders. I am not one of those guys. Meme Core is up, I guess. And everything else is pretty much in the red, so that's it. Dominance, I know a guy who's probably going to be very happy taking a look at this. Bitcoin dominance actually rose up quite vastly. I think we hit over 60. Yeah, look at that. Bitcoin 60%, and it took a little dip. I think yesterday it was at 58.2, then it went to 60.2, and now it's down. But you can see that in blue is the Bitcoin market cap, and it's going down. But the Bitcoin market cap, of course, actually went up. And that's because people are getting out of alts because they're like, this wasn't a good idea. And now here we are. So again, I know people are waiting for that sweet altcoin season. And it was here for a bit, but I just, again, don't think we're going to have altcoin season like how we used to, where every single thing goes up. You know my thesis on certain altcoins, so I'm not going to go over it and bore everybody. But just try to pick the ones that actually have utility, function, fees, and revenue. So anyhow, we have that. And of course, this is the big thing that everybody is talking about, which is liquidations. And again, rules, trying to use leverage. I say 0% leverage, but if you want to do 2 or 3x, hey, have at it. But if you're doing a 50, 100x, it's kind of risky. And this is you. I have never seen it like this. So we can see here that this was the 9th of October. What's the date today? 11th? So this is at night, I guess. Last night, 2 nights. And you can see that we liquidated, what was the word? 24-hour wrecked, 19 billion. And usually you see like 100 million, 500 million. And if you get to a billion, you're like, wow, a billion. And of course, that was 19. Let me refresh this real quick. I don't think this is absolutely correct. Oh, yeah, here we are. Now we're talking. So let's see, 9th, and then of course, today, there's a little bit of a lag. But that's what we have right now. So things are cooling off a little bit. But again, over the last 24 hours, 18 billion. That is the most I have ever seen. But it is what it is. And good luck to people out there. So again, try to follow some rules, whatever those is, trying to get too wrecked. Now, I will say this. During this time, I was like, this is awesome. I hate to say it like that, but I was like, this is great. I mean, we're having this big, huge flash crash. It could go down even more, but I was like, this is good because it's not like I said, like the fundamentals are still there. We're still having liquidity come in with M2. We're still having rate cuts coming in. The economy looks like it's doing reasonably well, although the economy is not the market. There are problems. I get that. I understand. And I mean, for Pete's sakes, we just had Israel and Hamas with a nice peace treaty. This is great. So I was like, I got to buy. And I did. Unfortunately, Coinbase let me down yet again. I know some people, I post this, I said, yeah, I had to use Kraken. Not I had to use, Kraken's my favorite, but I was trying to go bounce back and forth just to see how things are going. And Coinbase has a token I like, and I like to buy it there. And it was down. And then people said, no, Coinbase is up. I'm like, yeah, for you. And they said, no, Coinbase Pro is up. I'm like, yeah, I tried that too. It didn't work. So here's what I'm just want to preface it with this. When you guys are doing all your trades and your buys and everything else, you got to use exchanges. I know they suck. But when you want to sell or buy, and we're in just this huge, massive run up or run down, you need multiple exchanges because they will fail you. They will fold like cheap lawn chairs. They would not service you the way that they're supposed to. So I'm just begging you to sign up for as many exchanges that you want. I've got a link for Kraken. You get $25. I get $25. Just saying, it's a pretty good deal. If you don't want to use my affiliate link, you can go right to Kraken, sign up, but you'll get $25. So that's it. And yeah, again, for on ramps and off ramps, if you got US dollars or you have euros or whatever you got to exchange those dollars for that crypto. And that's what the exchange is for. And once you do that, you can do whatever you want to. You can use exchanges, blah, 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 blah. So that's just what we have. And that's it. And then, of course, I was buying. I felt like I was in good company. Larry Fink, well, not Larry Fink personally, but BlackRock and the ETF, there were some smart people that were saying, hey, we should buy some Bitcoin. And again, like we talked about this many times, BlackRock, they just do recommendations for their institutional clients. They don't do it for retail or advisory, but I'm guessing that they probably said, this is a good buying opportunity for XYZ institution, hedge fund, you guys should get into this. Or maybe they did themselves. Whatever it was, 45,000 of Bitcoin with 5 billion at an average price of 105 got bought up. They crushed it for that one. And of course, today I think it's around 112K. So there's good stuff, and that's what we have there. Unfortunately, some didn't work out great for everybody. And this is one of the reasons, Binance. So now we're going to go into the negative parts of this show. So if you'd like to wrap it up there and be like, that was awesome, then this is it. But we're going to go over some things that you're not going to like. And it's to protect you because the odds are stacked against you and you are exit liquidity. Okay, if you want to stay, here we go. So Binance said a little post and says, we're happy to report that all services have been restored and are progressively returning normal because they went down too. We are continuing to monitor the situation to ensure operations continue running smoothly. We appreciate everyone's understanding. And of course, 18 hours ago, due to heavy market activity, our systems are under high load. I don't care about that. That's going to happen. It just is. This was unprecedented, sure. But then I'm in this group and they were showing me pictures, like screenshots after screenshot after screenshot of the exchanges and how the price is different wildly. So here's the thing. If you're on leverage, right, and you're going one way or the other, and the price goes down to a certain point and you get liquidated, that's good for the exchange. Why? Because when they liquidate you, then of course they get those funds back and they get the fees and revenue coming back to them. So it would behoove them to make sure that the price goes as low as it is supposed to go, or as high if you're doing the opposite trade. And of course, because of that happening, you had a bunch of people, which we just saw, got liquidated like crazy. Why? Because some of these exchanges, whether rightfully or not, were listing prices at a specific point. Baran Oskan said, how's this possible? Adam was on Binance at a fraction of a penny. Adam on MEXC was $1.57. How is that possible? Well, I don't know, but if you were doing kind of levered plays, you got wiped out. And that's just Adam. I've got screenshots of XRP, I got screenshots of Bitcoin, I got screenshots of Ethereum. And it's the same song and dance over and over again. And I know there was some manipulation going on, pretty hardcore. Richard Tang, the CEO, says, hey, sorry, we're sorry. Sorry. Last 24 hours have been turbulent for the crypto market. I know many of you face challenges. We don't make excuses, we listen. We're going to make sure we do the things right. Volatility is part of the market, and we encourage all users to stay informed and take care during these times. Thanks for sticking with us. And if you want to read some of the funniest and honestly some of the most difficult to read, it's here for these comments. And basically it was just like this: you are manipulating. And it doesn't stop there, because even though we have manipulation in the markets, we know it is, we should be comfortable with that. We should know that. We know that, right? What I don't see, like, is this like a surprise to anybody? But I will say it is one thing when we say, hey, you know what? We want Gary Gensler and the SEC out of it. If they can get some clarity, great. But we don't need them to oversee us, because we are adults. We are not children. We can do what we want to. Then we come over here and say, you know what? They're hurting me. Mom, Dad, I need you to step in and help me. And I get it. People are going to say, well, that's what they're supposed to do. And you're being very, very, very coarse with people. But look, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it and say, you know what? I don't want any type of big brother activity. I want to do everything decentralized. Let the chips fall where they may. And if that means that because of Binance, what they did, I'm going to take my funds out and go someplace else, that's the market. You do that. But if you're going to say, I want decentralization and I don't want anybody to step in, you can't say what this is saying, which is this. This is from CEO of crypto.com. Regulators should look into the exchanges that had most liquidations in the last 24 hours and conduct a thorough review of fairness of practices. Any of them slowing down to a halt, effectively not allowing people to trade. Were all trades priced correctly and in line with indexes? What's the setup for trade monitoring and AML programs? Are there internal trading teams fully Chinese walled? 20 billion in liquidations, a lot of users got hurt. The job of regulatory bodies to protect the consumers and assure market integrity. That sounds like somebody from the United States House of Representatives saying, you know what? We need to jump in there and we need to take care of everybody because we're the only ones that can do it. Vote with your pocketbook. Say, I'm never going to use Binance again, and that's it. Or go the other route and say, you know what? We do need regulation. Let's have them step in. It's not for me to tell you what to do. I'm not your dad. I'm just saying you can't have it both ways, and that's pretty much it. And finally, it's not just manipulation by the exchanges. It's insider information and people essentially extracting as much value as they can and getting out of the market. Vex states, someone just opened a Bitcoin short 30 minutes before Trump's tariff announcement and just closed with an $88 million profit. And guess what? He opened this account today. And that's it for that. So look, that's it for this piece. Take the information as you see fits and move in that direction. But I want to say thanks for hanging out with me for 18 minutes. Now, if you want to stick around, do a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities, and we'll go from there. But I will just say, finally, before we get into the Q&A, is that yesterday I bought. There's a lot of blood in the streets. I could be wrong. We could go down even lower, but I still believe that we are in the right place at the right time in the right markets. Is there other opportunities out there? Absolutely. But right now, I still think that Q4 will be great. Moving into 2026, potentially Q1, who knows? But fundamentally, nothing's changed, and I'm still ecstatic to be here. What are your questions? All right. Algo Trader says, Rob, you're incorrect. Bear market's in. It could be. I mean, the definition of a bear market, and this is in traditional finance, Investopedia specifically, it will tell you that if you have a drop of 20% or more, and you have sentiment that is extremely bearish, and your long-term outlook, is also bearish, that would be considered a bear market. So right here, you definitely went below or above 20%. And right now, I'm pretty sure if we take a look at the fear and greed index, I'm going to guess we're probably in fear. I'm just going to guess. And then, but the outlook Are we going to continue on with this trend? Again, are we going to see more downplay? Is there something else coming out? Is Trump going to come out and say, you know what, 100%, make it 200%? That's what we're going to charge for all the imports coming in from China. Maybe, and then we can see even more. I'm not for sure. Or maybe, like I talked about before, this is just Trump being Trump and the administration being the administration, which is, in real estate, you get some crap deal from somebody or some prospect, and they say, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's our offer. And you look at the offer and you're like, this is trash. Okay, you want to sell me that house for $500,000. That house isn't even worth $250,000. I'm going to offer you $10,000 for that house now. I'm exaggerating, but that's pretty much what it is, back and forth, right? I remember, didn't Trump months ago put a tariff in place for a short amount of time of 145% on Chinese imports? What happened to that? And now we're at 100%. It's actually an improvement. So I just look at it and say, we'll see how it goes. Cosmo, hey Dan, did you get liquidated? I didn't, because I didn't play in that market. Now, there are traders that are good at this and they can use leverage and they can come out on top. But I'm just not that guy yet. But I'm going to get into it. Someone. Literally art of the deal. There you go. Algo trader, fear at 25% is a buy. Another taco trade is coming, which taco stands for Trump always chickens out, which we'll see what happens. Why negotiate through tweet? You twit. It's just getting the message out there, right? It's a funny thing because usually presidents, they would go and make a public announcement and they would stand at the podium and they would address the nation and it would be covered by the big three channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, and it would be televised and everybody would watch it because that's all we had. Then, of course, we get cable news, and that was one big thing. But now everything's shifting into the social media presence. So he's like, where can I reach, I don't know, 100 million people quickly? Well, I could go on Fox News, but they don't have it. I know CNN doesn't have it. So let me just tweet this out. And I guarantee it'll get to Xi Jinping. That's what I would have done too. All right. Let's see. Michael says, no, they wouldn't. Pam, go prosecute my enemies, social media post. No, they wouldn't. It'll be done back channel. No. Well, they could do it. I guess that would be Robert F. Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Everything was back channeled in that way. But you see how effective this could actually be as well. Sue. Set up 100% tariff by 9 days. Tony Rosas, Trump's family as the insider information is getting rich AF while everyone is scared. Yeah, so does anybody believe that any politician is not corrupt and greedy? I'm just going to throw it out there. And I know I just love talking geopolitics. This is just what I created the channel for. But anyhow, all politicians are liars and they're greedy. What is impressive to me is the politicians that go into office and they're not millionaires and they go in there on a salary of 125 to 175,000, whatever it is, and they're all of a sudden millionaires. It's amazing to me how that happens. Wow. Let's see. Yes, it is good to be. It's good to be here. Damn, these things keep coming through. Yes, and you are correct. Well, on that part, yeah. Politicians not corrupt and greedy. I wonder if we can name one politician that's not corrupt. Angry Abrelo, what was Polymar predicting? That's a good question. That's a real good question. Let's take a look at what Polymarket is saying. Let's take a look at Trump. Who will Trump pardon 2025? CZ. Jinping's out. Oh, this is a good one. Will Trump meet with Xi Jinping by October 31st? I might, my friend Bobby might have to get into that. Let's see. Let's take a look at tariff. Oh, this is a good one. 100% tariff on China in effect by November 1st. So far, they're saying this is 1 out of 4 chance it's going to actually happen. So Trump came out and said, we're going to put 100% tariff on China. This is going to go into effect November 1st. And right now, the markets are saying that's not going to happen. They're going to go back and forth, and this is what it will be. I can see that. So that answers your question. But those things shift. And somebody has information. Somebody knows something that we don't, and that will shift the market. But usually, poly market is pretty good. I mean, they did predict with 100% accuracy who was going to be the Nobel Peace Prize winner, which was insane. Somebody made millions off of that. Lady in Venezuela. Let's see. Shouldn't oracles like Link prevent events like this by giving correct price feeds to leverage contracts? It sure should. It's a good point. I don't know how they have everything set up, though, in that situation. If this is like some type of, but it's not a DeFi type of play. They have probably their own internal API integrations. I don't know. Remember when a dip like this was a Tuesday in crypto? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yes, exactly. Bill says, can we also admire how right Ben has been this cycle? Ben has been right. And it's because of him I didn't dump more into altcoins. Now, me and Ben differ, though, because I think he just went in totally Bitcoin. But I bought some alts, and I knew I was going to get pummeled for a long time, but we'll see how long that's going to last. But yeah, 75, 80% still of Bitcoin. And then, of course, that goes up as the other alts go down. But it's okay. At some point, those alts will run up. Not all of them. I don't need them all. I just need a couple. I'll be happy. Let's see. I'm registered as independent because politicians will suck. Maybe they'll show them. I don't blame you. Maybe Tom Massey, Bernie Sanders. Yeah, Ron Paul. Let's see. Let's see. Bernie, you're joking, right? Hey, Bernie's been a lifelong politician, so I really can't say how much he's made. Although he's a multimillionaire, so yeah. Learned my lesson last time, leverage on KuCoin. And then let's leave it here from week start. Guys, the top is in. Week start might be right. Top may have already been in, and this is just the beginning before we totally collapse. Could be. Or, like we talked about, fundamentals are still there. And if you believe Raoul Powell, the business cycle, we're going to see if some big, huge fireworks in Q2 of 2026. Anyhow, whenever it happens, we'll see some indicators and they'll probably pop off. But I'm not going anywhere. Just like I felt the same way of, going back in reverse as far as the other markets. And it is true. These types of big dips, big, huge dumps. Remember in 2021 when we went down 50% on Bitcoin in about a month and a half, from April down to roughly June. And then, of course, we went right back up and hit all-time highs in November. So we'll see if it works out, but that's it for today. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. We talk about it's time sensitive. But thanks so much for hanging out with me for 29 minutes. That was good times. And everybody, I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do a little bit later live stream on Sunday. It'll be me and Jerry, but we'll catch up tomorrow. Everybody, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Remember, it's not the end of the world.